Alrighty, hey guys, FunnyGuyTimmy here for a video game review. We're reviewing Resident Evil 2, the remake, which came out early this year, in 2019. I don't know when you're going to be seeing this. So I just finished a full playthrough of both Leon's and Claire's storyline, but I haven't done the extra modes, the side stories, side whatever. So I'm basically just going to be reviewing the general story in the general game, not the extra DLC or anything like that. So I just finished it, and first off, I gotta say that game is very hard. The rules are kind of different. So just because you shoot an enemy and you knock it down doesn't mean it's going to stay down. These enemies will get up rather frequently. Lickers can pretty much kill you in 2 strikes, even on basically the easiest difficulty. And if an enemy gets you from behind, you're basically going to get bitten regardless. If you get attacked from the front and you have grenades or a knife equipped, you can fight them off and you can hit a quick prompt and fight them off. But ultimately, overall, it is very, very difficult. It's all tight corridors and tons of zombies. Now, this is a remake and the game has been out for a while, but I'm not gonna do any spoilers for anyone who hasn't played the original Resident Evil 2 or hasn't played this game, which I do recommend. I do recommend that you play this game. It is fun, but on my Resident Evil games, I'm not entirely sure where I would rank it. I'm a huge fan of Resident Evil 4. I've always been a huge fan of Resident Evil 4. I think I've played that game in total probably like over 35 times in my entire life. I go back to it regularly just because it's just a good time. It's just really, really fun. There are lots of elements to Resident Evil 2, this one, that is very reminiscent of that style of gameplay. But at the same time, it's not... In Resident Evil 4, you were like a one-man army. After you've gotten really, really good at the game, you could go through and you could just murder zombies, or not zombies, but murder the enemies like non-stop. You could upgrade your weapons to the point that you're basically unstoppable. There was tons of ammo. Enemies would drop ammo and health and all this kind of stuff. That is not the case in this game. Items are very scarce, even on the easiest difficulty. And you have to be very, very sparing. You have to be very conscious of how much health and how many items you have, because if you run through them, that's it. That's all the items that are in the game. They do technically give you more than enough to handle the entire game and handle anything that comes your way. But you still need to be very, very sparing. I think on both of my run-throughs, there were multiple times when I was just basically out and down on health and down on ammo. Now, they do give you gunpowder on a regular basis where you can add gunpowders together and make whatever ammo or weaponry you need. Not weaponry, but whatever ammunition you need. And there are a couple combinations. I think there's like 3 combinations per character that you can put together, and you get different kinds of ammo. So if you're running low on this kind of ammo, you could put different gunpowder together to get that kind of ammo. So that is neat. And they do add an extra element to the herbs. There is the green herb, which of course increases, just gives you back health. The red herb plus green herb increases your health fully, just adds to your health. And there's the blue herb, which gives you kind of a shield. It gives you a little extra health. It gives you like a temporary extra health, which is neat. Now, you can never at any point in time upgrade your health like you were able to do before. You can never do anything like that. And I think you have maybe on average 3 or 4 attacks from an enemy before you're down. So it's pretty hard. And there are some enemies that no matter how many times you shoot them, they're going to keep coming back. There is tons of story-based enemies that are like that, but there's also other enemies, like sometimes regular zombies. No matter how many times you shoot them in the head, they're just not going to go down. You may end up just wasting an entire clip. Also, shooting them in the body and shooting them in the head is more or less the same. It does basically the same amount of damage. The only difference is you shoot them in the head, you have a chance of putting them down forever. You have a chance of blowing up their head and putting them down for an extended period of time. Or just in total. If their head explodes, then they're obviously gone. But just because you shoot them in the head, directly right in the forehead, doesn't mean they're just going to stop. They're going to keep coming at you. So again, kind of adds to the difficulty. Now, there's tons of great puzzles in this, tons of great acting, tons of great voice acting. The writing it's typical Resident Evil writing. But I actually feel like this is better than the original in many, many ways. Now, of course, there's going to be some people going, no, I like the fixed camera angles, and, you know, the other one was nostalgic, and I like that better. That's fine. If that's your game, if you love the original and you don't like the remake, totally fine. But I love the remake. I love this version of Resident Evil 2. There are tons of screenwriting or cliches in this. There are tons of characters that make dumb decisions for dumb reasons, and it just drives you crazy. But it's not as much. I feel like this was actually very well written. It felt cinematic. It felt more like a well-written movie. Now, of course, there's tons of backtracking. There's tons of running all over the place. But unless you're really, really bad at it, like I was my first playthrough, you're not going to be running through as much. And I'm one of those people, I like to clear out a room. I like to get everything and, store it away because I know I'm going to need it later. That's the kind of guy I am. I'm a little bit more of a completionist. But if you're the kind of person who just runs past zombies, runs through rooms, gets only what you need and gets out, you're going to be playing the game a lot faster. So each character's storyline, first run through, is probably going to be about 8 hours. And then the second run through, when you play as either Leon or Claire, whoever the second person was, you pick one or the other, first go through. I went through as Leon first time and then played Claire the second time. First time going through as Leon took me about 8 hours. I think it was like a minute past eight hours. So pretty standard. And then as Claire, you go through and you're kind of going through a lot of the same areas, going through a lot of the same buildings, a lot of the same locations. So it's familiar. It's not all new to you. There are some new locations, there are some new characters, and there are some new events that happen. But the majority of the game, you're going through the same locations, fighting the same enemies, and finding items in roughly the same spots. So you'll run through it a little bit faster. And I think for me, it was about 5 hours. So together, you're looking about 13 hours of first run through playthrough, which is really, really good. Now, I've seen people speedrun this, and I don't know how they do it. Those guys are wizards, and those guys are gods. I mean, the game has only been out so long. I mean, I don't know how good you can get at speedrunning a game so quickly, but you can, and some people have beaten in less than 2 hours, something like that, something crazy. So you can do it. But I say take your time, enjoy the game, play it at your pace, play it at your speed. There are tons of weapon upgrades. There are tons of puzzles that are really fun. And it's just an all-around good game. Now, because it's incredibly, incredibly hard for the average gamer, I mean, for experienced gamers, it's probably going to be normal or medium difficulty. But for less than average, for average game players, people that just play stuff for fun, not for competitive reasons, it's probably going to be really, really hard, and it may frustrate you at times. But it is worth it. Despite how frustrating it can get and how many times you're going to be out of ammo and empty on, your health, and, you got no items and there's just zombies chasing you. Once you do figure out how to get around that, once you do figure out how to avoid that kind of stuff and finally get to an area where you do have ammo and you can get health and move forwards, it's gonna be worth it. It really is. So I would probably give this game probably a 95 out of 100. Probably 95 out of 100. It's really, really close. Maybe more like 90 out of 100. Maybe more like 90 out of 100. The difficulty at times did give me anxiety and did frustrate me a lot, but at the end, after all of it, it was worth it. I'm sure there's tons of people that are going to be yelling and screaming and, throwing controllers a lot more than I am, but then there's some people that are going to be like, that's not difficult, that's not, just reserve your ammo. So, anyway, that's my review of the game. I think it's really, really fun. Again, no spoilers, not spoiling anything. If you haven't played the original Resident Evil 2, this is all going to be very exciting and very, very fun and very intriguing. It's not the most original story in the world, but it is worth playing the game. Both characters, all of it, play it all the way through as many times. So, anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Totally fine. Let me know what you think of the game down below if you've played it, or what other games you'd like to see me play and review. Leave that down there as well. If you're new, subscribe, bell for notifications, and until next time, peace!